Days of golden green uncertainty as I race along through my backwards backyard of corn and sixpence. Intermission. I drove deep into days of gloom. My mind paces and frets, prances and paces and prances, but knows something about my body, wandering about the small North Beach library. It falls asleep and tries to reach out to my small mind, stuck somewhere in the tight gray heavens. The gloom is perfect, for there is nothing to age the windswept trees. Alone with a metaphor. Alone at night with a metaphor, the church rings a chant of bells at 6 o'clock. The sand has its aloneness at the beach of bells, the surf still breaks upon the rocks. The surf breaks noisily, and the rocks are mad and want to roar at the surf, at the white tentacles of foam pressing them to silence, the silence of aloneness, the seals clapping like lepers, applauding the always gray sky. This is a Steve idea here, but I decided to go along with it. Alexandra, Alex. Alex and I went together during the summer of love. She was 18 and I was 22. We attended Vian's chamber concerts at my insistence. Movies, dining, and picnic at the beach together. She a Cancer, I a Libra, compatible because of cardinal energy. She the practical teenager of bottom, I the moody type. We both lived with our parents, I in La Cañada, she in La Crescenta. She had an earthy, bikini-clad, warm-hearted come-on to all, while I could be jealous and withdrawn. However, I was clever and liked to listen to Wagner, while she loved Donovan, kittens, and flowers. I can be persistent at times and make her forget other guys. But I went back to college and we broke up. By now I imagine she is married and I taught her how to drive a VW stick, the results of a bad acid trip. Things. The sultry fierceness of the wind in the trees. A strange July filled with fog. People roar their confusion at me. The cold demeanor of the wind, the branches of the trees look like seaweed shaking in the breeze, shakes against the gray July foggy sky, the cold-hearted summer chill. Summer sonnet. A sultry stammer of wind and sky. The day of atonal atonement. The day filled with regret and anger. The bay of cold, chilled bliss of knowledge. The why of the wheres and whos. The goodbye to the spirit, the sad goodbye. The way I look at you and you acknowledge. May we come together, alone and together. Sigh and sixpence, the drear chill of a spirit. Watching the day with wind and sharp cares, cares of lordly lust. Merit makes more of what I ask myself. What my cares, my spirit, my feelings for daring do, my being just kneeling. Monday music. Sunny Monday, 3rd Street, timid sun. Leaves like horned tails of tide, sway in the quiet air. 3rd Street, 3rd Street, sways to the beat, the quiet bass like no music. Sunrise saxophone barks in quiet contrapuntal knowledge. The piano began with Eric Satie, then fell in love with his own ideas. The Wounded Sky. Dreams bright that go unanswered, leaves barely move in the furtive sun. The sky pure and blue as if it had been ordered to do so, ordered to be pure and blue instead of gray and dark. Sunny skies can heal all wounds, My spirit moves during the day. Big things, little things. Some people say it their way. Poetry, learn to think, feel. Sonnets arrive online, on screen. Real life and death and life. To quote Yeats, yes, I mourn Steve Mackin, Yeatsian, whose proud praises rang out at sacred grounds every Wednesday. It struck me dumb when he passed away. I am not sure if it had been intended that he should have been taken from life. Empty jar. Reach out for the empty stars. The jar of words is empty. Empty of metaphors. The poem has come to the last dance. The sonnet like a sleepy string orchestra. The villanelle a wordless chain anchor ensemble. The sestina a ghostly orchestra and chorus. All empty. All have had the day when they can fill the page with opacity and subtle clarity, coming to terms with reality as I do, as if emerging from a dream. A bad poem, trying to be original. A faint wind stirs the trees into shade. I sit helpless over the loss of metaphor. Language that was a joy has disappeared into a curse of confusion that gallops and cavorts about the library, doing Quixote-like deeds, cavorting about, bumping into itself, trying not to be good-natured. Seconds lost. Below in the bushes, clouds cover the sky with an iron will. Will and certainty, that's what I have not at all. Thoughts pensive, traffic flowing like a river, the day like no other, like a sentence at the force of others' free will. That is, I think I'm free. Friends have a mind like a pogo stick, bounces with nothing in between. Passion stirs the masses. There is one mind I seek. Somewhere here, there, maybe there is somewhere in the droopy banners, moving impossibly to catch the clouds. Poem of four elements. One, air. A piece of 3rd Street in the cold sleep, pedestrians turn a corner the market on the air. Only the air is free. Nothing else gives us the very gift of life and love, and asks for nothing in return. 2, earth. Earth is your earth. It is many. To me a great mystery, stolid, little, elusive, and always bright. It is there, as humble as a star, and not always a logic I should not deny. Water, raining, always warm and silken, flows out, and makes my sight of any question all right and bright. Warm like a bath, cold like rain and knowledge. Knowledge and emotion are one, like Zeus, sky and thunder. Fire oxidizes, darkens the cloud like a humanitarian. Sharp and bright, it outdoes me, little me, without any effort, without effort or effect. Flames are like magic, magic burning my necessity.
Yep.
Another one from Steve. Dr. File. Dr. John File taught Milton at State, now SFSU. I took his course in my senior year, spring 1968. He was a thin, sandy-haired Englishman. When we came to the part in Milton's biography, whereas he supported the Roundhead Parliament, the right under Cromwell, his reaction to that was, and rightly so. The next semester, I got back to State and bumped into a woman who I shared the class with. She then told me that Dr. File, who was in the habit of taking tea and discussing drowning, had shot himself. She said that he left a note, said goodbye to his colleagues, went down to his basement, and had blown his brains out. P.S. The woman who I liked gave me a ride to my place once. Kiss all angels. Trouble in heaven, the clouds vanish. Too many angels spoil the truth. What bees travel through the thin air. I'm helpless before their 30 muses. Every day seems different and diffident. This poem is going somewhere. I think it an unlikely poem to dance about the fire, leaping as though it has no beginning and no end. The dance will end, nobody leaping in boredom and idyllic longing, to a morose sigh. Her personality like one huge helpless sigh. And oh yes, it's all my fault. Evening Blues X Sonnet. A searching Milford feelings for a metaphor for the loud jazz to tell me how it is to flutter like a piece of paper, the carefree flutter of a piece of paper, up and down 3rd Street like a wind tunnel. Reality is a voice blowing cool to the wind. The wind does not care, nor will it ever care for me at all. It is like impatient 3rd Street, as impatient as jazz that refuses to speak to anxiety. New Moon, the prose rhapsody. Brag the British brunt, the blunt rising, floating, cruising past the lacy nimbus. The night is rich and dark as the eyes of Satan can pass through the pure doorway on his way up Grant Street, on a furtive errand. A cop copes with chaos on the empty street. Camaraderie creates mystery and joie de vivre. It's as if joie de vivre was a lesson I learned in my past life. I have been reincarnated as a searching, drooling druid. Cat's House Paul, a torpid human prose poem. Outside the door a kitten jingles its paws on the keys of caution, wisdom, and restraint. Its tiny paws search the bushes, a vague search for more than it can know. It seems to me that our late Pooter, a clever cat, hunted up and down trees and cane fields for birds, like the sleek black hunter he was. If successful, a pile of feathers would appear on our back porch. Pooter might have been proud of himself in the way his paws would swipe out and bring down his prey, usually a robin or a sparrow. Of course he got old and died with a sad but unbloody look on his still fierce, meaning panther, feline face. Genuflection. Alpha, Omega, apotheosis of love. Beginning the word, the devotion, now shall be world without, for thine is the kingdom, lovers unrequited without end.
Can you stand up a little bit? Sure.
Okay. Testing, yes, it is loud.
Can you read the last one again?
Sure. Genuflection. Alpha, Omega, apotheosis of love, beginning the word, the devotion, now shall be world without. For thine is the kingdom, lovers unrequited without end. Fine air. As peaceful moon, I'll just read it. Rises a calm, placid December, quiet as a thoughtful sun. Stand atop the sharp, spiteful moon that narrows the spirit we travel to like a hound in a wolf pack, moving noiselessly down Terrible Street. Mind as sharp as religion, just as teenage men living with their prayer books, disguised as suits with narrow lapels, with thin black and yellow silver fur. Thank you very much.
I just wrote this song today. It's called Rouler le bon temps. It means let the good times roll. Rolling with rigmarole, talking the lingo of gibberish and gobbledygook. Rolling down the Tallahatchie. He's just a true blue soul, strumming years of worry and woe on the old banjo. Rolling down Mississippi's Tallahatchie, rolling down Mississippi's Tallahatchie. Rouler le bon temps, rouler le bon temps. Now, this is another song I wrote to help me get through this period of I just can't seem to find a job. And just to remind me that someday I will find a job. It's called Stick to It. Like Dorothy in the Land of Oz, determined to get back to Kansas. Don't give up, stick to it, you can do it. Like gum sticking to the heel of your shoe, don't give up, stick to it, you can do it. Like peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Don't give up, stick to it, you can do it. Like writing a poem, don't give up, stick to it, you can do it. Like composing a song, don't give up, stick to it, you can do it, stick to it, you can do it. Like Dorothy in the Land of Oz. Now, the last time I went to Palm Springs to visit my father, on Palm Canyon Drive at 8:30 in the morning, there was a sight that I don't think I'll ever see again. Above the San Jacinto Mountains at 8:30 in the morning was a full moon. So it's called Moon over San Jacinto Mountain. Against the backdrop of San Jacinto Mountain, the moon watches over Palm Canyon Drive like a proud director watching over his stage production. Mist sprays from sidewalk cafes and restaurants, bringing comfort from the hot desert air. People are casually walking along Palm Canyon Drive without worry or care. The cafes, shops, and restaurants are bustling with conversation. It's a pristine scene in Palm Springs. And the palm trees stand like props on stage against the backdrop of San Jacinto Mountain, like the moon watches over Palm Canyon Drive, like a proud director watching over his stage production until the curtain falls. Now, on August 30th, 2009, when we rose in San Francisco, the temperature was 96 degrees. By 5 p.m., it dropped to 56 degrees. So this is called It's Absolutely Summer in San Francisco. From daylight to nightfall, 96 to 56 degrees Fahrenheit, the tourists all huddle in the August evening fog, waiting for the cable car coming down those tracks. San Francisco t-shirts on their backs, 40-degree range in temperature change, and the tourists all exclaim, "This weather sure is crazy." It's absolutely summer in San Francisco. Now, this poem is for Barbra. It's dedicated to the late, great Parisian poet Jacques Barbra. It's called Street Performers, Singers, and Clowns. His poems were filled with satirical humor on rigid French education and the Catholic Church. A nonconformist and anarchist who instilled great vitality into the surrealist movement. He became so popular that the street performers, singers, and clowns, les enfants du paradis, stopped him on the streets of Paris and quoted lines from his poems to greet him. And the street performers, singers, and clowns are still waiting on the streets of Paris to quote the Parole Poétique of Jacques Barbra, the people's poet. This is a revision to a song this is getting my poems and songs. This is a poem. A revision to a poem I recently recited here. It's called Madame No. A few words in French in the translation. No, N-O-N, is no in English. Oui means yes. Merci. Thank you, très bien, very well. De rien, it's nothing. Merde means hell. Sacre bleu, goddamn. Okay? Madame No. Madame No never says we. She may undeniably be a femme fatale, so very continental, so very non-committal. Madame No never says we. Madame No never says merci. Madame No never says très bien. She may say de rien. She may say coucou. She may say merde. She may say sacre bleu. But Madame No never says we, undeniably. The next is a letter from a soldier to his sweetheart back home. It's called N'oublie pas. That's French for don't forget. My love, off to war marching I have gone. You must believe I will return. For you I shall always yearn. It's always darkest before the dawn. N'oublie pas, mon chéri. Don't forget to wait for me. Don't forget to write to me. Don't forget and you will see. N'oublie pas, mon chéri. Don't forget to recite love poem for me. Don't forget to say the Lord's Prayer for me. Don't forget to remember me. N'oublie pas, mon chéri. Today at dawn they'll play taps to morn. Today at dawn they'll honor me in red, white, and blue. And I shall always yearn for you. It's always darkest before the dawn. N'oublie pas, mon chéri. With my undying love, your Henri. The wars go on and on through the years of each century. Family, friends, fears, and cries become reality. A beloved, brave, bold soldier dies, story after story retold. N'oublie pas, ma chérie. N'oublie pas, ma chérie. And my last piece is a song I wrote back in August of 2003. It's called Rosa de Barcelona.
Train departing Barcelona at 5 p.m. Destination unknown.
He left her at the train station. He told her he loved her. He told her she was his Rosa de Barcelona. Rosa de Barcelona. Esta rosa más bonita en el jardín de rosas. He promised to come back for her. She waits and waits for his return. But Barcelona can't wait. The leaves change hues from greens to reds ago. And she still waits for his return. She sees him in a dream. He tells her he loves her. He tells her he is his Rosa de Barcelona. Rosa de Barcelona. Esta rosa más bonita en el jardín de rosas. He promises he'll come back for her. She waits and waits for his return. But Barcelona can't wait. The leaves change hues from greens to reds ago. And she still waits for his return. Rosa de Barcelona. Rosa de Barcelona. Rosa de Barcelona. And she still waits for his return. Our next poet is Ray.
So, I have two poems this afternoon. One that I read before, and one that I just wrote. Last time I wrote a poem that I had written very recently. I regretted reading it, so I hope I decided that I didn't like
anything you read.
What's that?
You should never regret anything you read.
Well, thank you, but I don't. Well, okay, I'm all right, but I think you've had those feelings sometimes. On occasion, you know, you start out, you feel enthusiastic, and that's all part of the process, the creative process. And then later, you look at something that I don't think so. Yeah. Or just reorganize. You know, something is good. What's good about it, you keep, and then re-edit it, reorganize it. Anyway, so I better start going, otherwise I'm out of time. But I do have. I have. Okay, so before I read these two poems, I want to read as we know, Bob Nelson is very clever. Bob, he did a drawing, and he has some writing that I'll read. So here's his poetic inscription. Anyway, it's called a poetic question. This is Bob's work. Number one, if a poet falls over in the forest, is there any sound if he is alone? 2, if there is sound, in what meter would it best be heard? 3, did Shakespeare ever fall over in the forest? 4, if he did, was there much ado made about it? So,
work on those questions then. Answers next week.
Next week, maybe Robert would be able to answer them. I don't think I'm up to it, but maybe Robert, would you answer this?
I could probably answer those questions. Yeah, I don't know if you'd like my answers, but I couldn't.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Will Shakespeare?
Yes.
Okay, so this poem is entitled "Too Late?" Question mark. I have a strange dream. I see undulating tree trunks and branches thrust themselves up from earth, slithering snake forms, spiraling the huge height of skyscrapers. Yes, the burnished branches climb the building, their serrated leaves flickering flames, glowing tongues of fire, incandescent green. Now I wonder, too late? Is this the vision of life's unflagging force? Or perhaps of endless war, infinite collapse, unceasing relapse to a vegetative state?
Wow.
Thank you. So here's the last poem. And I have a quotation that's probably a paraphrase or misquotation, but I'll probably check it before I type this up. But anyway, so here's my opening quotation from E. Cummings. Again, I'll correct whatever error there is in it later. So the quotation I have is, quote, "Pity not the monster mankind," from E. Cummings' poem. Check later. Anyway, so the title is "Human's crowned king brain of evolution finally puts its foot down. We hurtle upward, civilization's crowning stallion on the cliff of the ionosphere. We humans, the monster mankind, congeal from oceans of coacervate roiling evolution of single cell, from the slime of blue-green algae up to the epochs of monumental history, thundering Wagnerian rat maze experiments of the almond-shaped amygdala brain, proving again the momentous progress of the human cyclorama, quantum energy, harnessed, bridled, raked, sorrel, horse whinnies and snorts of idiotic quantum digital machine monstrosities, miniatured into fruit fly experiment calculations of the number of red hexagons of compound-eyed female fruit flies, proving, yes, once again, human emerged from friable green-blue shores of red-eyed experimental hope into the cerulean, limpid radiance of ape experiments, and sundering in half the corpus callosum into left and right brain brilliance. Human magnificence, the ape of heaven and earth, capable of delivering the atomic bomb and hydrogen bomb to all children, the entire expanse of the universal nuclear family. Humankind, the king of the food chain, links binding his brain in the shackles of secrets. The enemy, the stranger, fended off with electric circuits, silvering the amygdala into quantum signals to the space satellites tossed into the air beyond the stratosphere as apes ape each other in the mirror neurons, the prefrontal cortex of history's ancient codices, growling the shriek of light into the sternum of advanced higher learning university of flea circuses, proving the evolution of steel buildings from the parietal lobe of the left sphincter. Again, trumpets triviality, saluting the rosy dawn of the fire-fed apocalypse, the generating of the degenerate magnanimous cruelty of an ape, of an animal incapable of wrongdoing, since atomic hydrogen energy has blessed us with its reciprocal friendship, building up humankind even further. G.B. Shaw supermen who will shit on the entire world and then wipe themselves with the United States Constitution of the oracular, all men are created equal, we sort of believe. We humans are the monarchs of atomic miracles, the crown of the convoluted maze of evolution's mirror cells, reflecting light into an accordion Mayan Indian book of hieroglyphic secrets. We must have secrets for our beloved behemoth corporations that keep brainwashing into galaxies of Cracker Jacks and cotton candy copyrighted logo t-shirts that we tattoo onto our once naked skin, turning into concrete, steel, glass, neon flourishing of iridescent bouquets, smelling beautifully of sterile, odorless I-beams, striated evolved canyon chambers, stratifier scraper high-rises, humongous pylons of adjectives, verbs, the past particles, past perfects, and way past perfect, passing on the chromatic genome of this princely monster man unkind, quantumly, digitally, hydrogenly, keeping the secret, yes, the secret, the hygienic divorce of all human life from the natural wonders of earth and sky, and from the liberating revelatory knowledge of the resplendent Trobriand Islanders, the Albert Einsteins of true, harmonious, beauteous life.
And our next poet will be David.
It's a poem thanks to George Zimmerman, you know. Racial profiling in America. And your nursery rhyme. Little Red Riding Hood was up to no damn good. With face covered by a cowl, a dastard crook on the prowl, reported Wolf Watch of neighborhood. Targets carrying a bag, perhaps a burglar out to lag, or Muslim terrorists who a bomb. Then you should destroy him with plum. It's the modest news, the daily rag. We heard George Zimmerman's story. Now this is Craven Martin's story. We haven't heard it. Craven, had I the wit, had I not been so darn stubborn, but still be alive and fit if I surrendered my victuals, the short time before I'm hit, a bullet hitting my vitals. But I had never encountered any bully who killed for food. To that night I was accosted. I didn't expect to be shot when expectedly fired. Then I then fell on the shooter. Ten reasons the world needs poetry. One needs the muse to make life endurable. What better way than learn to recite and sing? One hears the tramp of feet on pavement, the heart beats the rhythm of words that ring. In the humdrum existence we live and breathe. Poetry lifts us as if we are on the wing. Can soar a wounded, hapless soul, give life to better thoughts, to do a better thing, than die and so exit from the world. Poetry can give life to nations, long thought dead, awaking people from long slumber, stir the complacent to actions that right the wrongs of ages past, to make a better tomorrow in the coming revolutions, to shake the high and mighty like ripe fruit from a tree. Autumn leaves. Nature, how prodigal art thou with thy gifts, spread round so freely. That light yes so marvellously shone when autumn leaves dangles arboreally like scarlet ribbons strung among cords of gold. Profligate that thou of dyed bestow, casting a magical carpet of foreign leaves, of variegated colours, the palette of a master painter, moving slowly swept along by gusts of wind, dancing leaves of crimson, ochre, and umber. One on this earth, a lonely wayfarer, or any place that call hearth and home, tramping the roadway, a wandering stranger, just waiting for heaven to call me back home. I once was light-hearted, blight and carefree, with never troubling thought in my mind. Now worries daily furrow my brow, I'm downcast and my heart's in a bind. My home now, this wide world under the sky, from a house strangers cruelly took from me. I wish I wings to fly, from the caves and wolves that beset me. In foxes of holes, birds of the nests, but I've no place I could call my own. Only grass for my bread bed, my pillow a stone, a friendless wanderer without a home. All that live would sooner or later repay their debts to nature, joining the ever-growing ranks of the silent majority in the realm of the nether world. We have pre-booked reservations waiting for arrival. But love is not ended when our beloved is gone, the way of grass that withered returned to the earth, in which it grew and was nourished. Love endures beyond the grave, the way day death claims us. This is Bloody Thursday, July 5th, 1924. Blood on the ground, tear gas in the air, there's law and order out on rampage, with unmitigated class warfare, with uniformed thugs shooting in rage, unarmed hungry men without wear or welfare, goons on horseback, thrice in cavalry gauge, breaking heads and trampling all without any care, poor scragging workers outside a union hall, the only stage. 1,000 San Francisco's finest running amok, out to kill men who are down the luck. Total tally for Arkham sport, 33 shot, 2 who died in Congress report. Gloves, tear gas and flying objects struck down, 78 others before the sun went down. All to teach a lesson to the unruly working class, and to chalk up a cheap victory for a ruling class. Rather than being at the moon, I write even though ignored by the world. I write to keep my sanity in an outrageous world. I write to express my indignation at unfairness of the world. I write in pen dipped in vitriol to shout my protest at the world. I write to affirm to others that exist in this world. I'll write till my pen is stilled, but then I'll left this world. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very much, David. Okay, great. And moving right along, our next poet looks like it will be Robert.
Right.
You want to share that?
Yeah, definitely.
How's it?
Okay. And maybe the microphone down so we can do it.
You know how to...
Yeah, I know how to do it. Yes, I can do the microphone.
All right.
Okay,
Also,
let me just grab the microphone.
a little further. There we go. I think so, yes.
Okay, you've got the floor.
All right, let's move this around to this side. Is this good?
Yep.
Now I'm going to do something that I don't ordinarily do. because in the 3 years or so that I've been coming here, I have usually read my own work. However, today, the literary world is in mourning because yesterday morning, probably just a little after midnight San Francisco time, the greatest Irish poet of the 20th and early 21st centuries died in Dublin. That was Seamus Heaney, Nobel laureate in 1996, pretty much universally considered to be the best Irish poet since W.B. Yeats. And I decided that I wanted to do two things in his memory, one of which is to read from his poems. And unfortunately, I'm always talking about how my books are packed up where I can't get to them. This is true again here, which means that I bought this at the Booksmith on the way over here, which means I haven't practiced. There were two things that I wanted to do in honor of Seamus Heaney. Let me just say in passing that the other one involved a bottle of whiskey, and that one's already been done. I went through quickly and found from this book, which is a selected poems, some poems that I'm familiar with, and I want to do 6 of them. This is called Midterm Break, and it was one that was written when he was quite young. Midterm Break. I sat all morning in the college sick bay, counting the bells knelling classes to a close. At 2 o'clock, our neighbors drove me home. In the porch, I met my father crying. He had always taken funerals in his stride. And Big Jim Evans saying it was a hard blow. The baby cooed and laughed and rocked the pram when I came in, and I was embarrassed by old men standing up to shake my hand and telling me they were sorry for my trouble. Whispers informed strangers I was the eldest, away at school, as my mother held my hand in hers and coughed out angry, tearless sighs. At 10 o'clock, the ambulance arrived with the corpse, staunched and bandaged by the nurses. Next morning, I went up into the room. Snowdrops and candles soothed the bedside. I saw him for the first time in 6 weeks, paler now, wearing a poppy bruise on his left temple. He lay in the 4-foot box as in his cot. No gaudy scars, the bumper had knocked him clear. A 4-foot box, a foot for every year. Let's see, next one's on page 275. The title poem from a collection called The Haw Lantern. The wintry haw is burning out of season, crab of the thorn, a small light for small people, wanting no more from them but that they keep the wick of self-respect from dying out, not having to blind them with illumination. But sometimes when your breath plumes in the frost, it takes the roaming shape of Diogenes with his lantern, seeking one just man. So you end up scrutinized from below the haw. He holds up at eye level on its twig, and you flinch before its bonded pith and stone, its blood prick that you wish would test and clear you, its pecked at ripeness that scans you, then moves on. Here's another one about a tree. This is just called Song. A rowan like a lipsticked girl. Between the byroad and the main road, alder trees at a wet and dripping distance stand off among the rushes. There are the mud flowers of dialect and the immortelles of perfect pitch, and that moment when the bird sings very close to the music of what happens. Oh, here we go. I was just about to say that I thought possibly I did a better job on the whiskey last night than I am doing on Mr. Heaney's poems. But then I saw that the next one in my set list is a poem about booze, actually. Well, he was Irish, what could I say? It's called Sloe Gin. The clear weather of juniper darkened into winter. She fed gin to sloes and sealed the glass container. When I unscrewed it, I smelled the disturbed, tart stillness of a bush rising through the pantry. When I poured it, it had a cutting edge and flamed like Beetlejuice. I drink to you in smoke-furled blue-black shoes, bitter and dependable. Here's a really short one. An ash plant, by the way, is pain. If you've read Ulysses, Stephen Dedalus carried an ash plant. This is called The Strand, and it's just 3 lines. The dotted line my father's ash plant made on Sandymount Strand is something else the tide won't wash away. And, whoops. $165, a sonnet from a collection called Glamour Sonnets. I assume it's a place name, and this is number 10. It has a couple of personal names in it that I'm not absolutely sure how to pronounce, so I will try. I dreamt we slept in a moss in Donegal, on turf banks under blankets, with our faces exposed all night in a wetting drizzle, pallid as the dripping sapling birches. Lorenzo and Jessica in a cold climate. Diarmuid and Grian waiting to be found. Darkly asperged and sensed, we were laid out like breathing effigies on a raised ground, and in that dream I dreamt, how like you this, our first night years ago in that hotel, when you came with your deliberate kiss to raise us toward the lovely and painful covenants of flesh, our separateness, the respite in our dewy, dreaming faces. Okay, how am I doing on time?
We've got 2 more minutes.
Those are the ones that I planned. I could flip through and see if I can find one more. You guys like Heaney?
Yeah.
I think he was a very great poet, and I never did get to see him.
He did a great translation of Beowulf too, I think.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I think the ash is a sacred tree in the Odin myths.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish with this one. I actually came across this earlier trying to pick what to read out of this book. And it's about, although he was Irish, it's about a trip he apparently took through France. This is called Night Drive. The smells of ordinariness were new on the night drive through France. Rain and hay and woods on the air made warm drafts in the open car. Signposts whitened relentlessly. Montreuil, Abbeville, Beauvais were promised, came and went, each place granting its name's fulfillment. A combine groaning its way late bled seeds across its work light. A forest fire smoldered out. One by one, small cafes shut. I thought of you continually, 1,000 miles south, where Italy laid its loin to France on the darkened sphere. Your ordinariness was renewed there.
Oh, wow.
Well, The poor man is probably spinning in his grave, but I thought somebody should try.
Thank you, very nice. Great. And our next caller is Jason. Okay?
Well, it's bad enough for you guys, but I have to
Yes, you're
follow.
next after Jason.
Great hours thought. Neighborhood culture. No, I want to get it there Monday. What are you doing? She berates the friendly, soft-spoken, older Asian postal clerk. Is that okay to say? Or am I racially stereotyping? Okay, Monday is a holiday, then Tuesday, she grudgingly allows. I won't say who. Did I already racially stereotype in an Oakland neighborhood? Isn't it just culture? Race has nothing to do with it. Who can disagree very much? Like if we were in Beverly Hills or in the White House. In other geographies, we describe Indonesian, Polynesian, Chinese, Italian. What do we say here? I wonder if I lived here, how could I hide, protect myself, stay the person I am, not put up a wall of defensive offense? Since we've already had the ground broken for other types of journeys today, I'll read this, which I otherwise haven't. Healing despite tolerance. Tolerance robbing, taking forever, an hour. Is it even starting? Is it just around the corner? Already took a lot. Not going to take more, trying to make up for it. Trying to catch a train that already departed 3 days ago. No coming up, no colors, no roaring in ears, no clicking, just a hint of pins in my fingers now and again. The songs I respond to that give me colors. Chippewa medicine woman wailing that float me. 5-MeO DMT, not happening. Only trying. But how do I try? Try let go into them, but only thinking. How do I do that? Self-conscious thinking, distracted. Remembering to look, paying attention. Search out some color intricacy until I forget again. Headphone fiddling, street noises, here it comes. Song that did it last time, will it come? It does. There's more left. Bellowing, loud, declaring I'm here, but strangely distant from it all. Body reacting when it's doing, I don't know. Song's over, but no, I'm not done. Recognize the feeling of having to follow the program that has been set for me. Silly, since it's my playlist. I've learned. What would my guide do? Play it again. I've realized that I'm not gone. Too much not gone, so I can. With some cost, but can. Interrupt. Go to computer screen. How much to do for it to run its course? A whoop, a woo-hoo. Is it forced? My idea of looking for joy in the passive pall I feel, or come from within? I just go with it. The healing has begun. All the same. Life's commonalities, unavoidable, no? So different in acculturation, so different in building up, structure of mind. So built by life, extreme trauma, leaving indelible mark, organizing principles of the personality, language and concept, creating quirky neural associations. Littler trauma, still leaving indelible mark somewhere in there, like the child who probably will never ride horses having been knocked down by one. Not hurt, but scared. Like his mother who hasn't got her horse up to a run since being thrown over its head. Not hurt, but scarce. Preamble for the inescapable instincts, inescapable processes, drives we know. Hunger. Does anything lie beneath it for most of us in this country? But if you've known anyone who lived through the Great Depression, you know they were marked by it forever. Hunger. Is that it? Not starved, but scared. Shelter. Listed as a need by teachers in school. A logical concept. But imagine if an earthquake leveled the city now, and there was no FEMA, no police, no aid coming, just a cold, rainy night approaching. Then come the beginnings of understanding, hints of the primal, hints of gonna make sure have it no matter what. Where's food? My food, my shelter. Yes, mine. Get away, mine. The bird flies away from the other birds, piece of bread in its beak. Mine. Competition, new age evil in excess. Is there any escape from it? Desire for something, inescapable concomitant, experience the world will provide. Frustration, pleasure, pain, move toward, move away. Innocence misunderstood, loss, sex, love. And so it goes. Common building blocks, life experience, Legos constructing personalities depending on how they land, how interpreted. Apple is sweet. World is a friendly place to one. Apple has a bitter worm. World is an unfriendly place to another. World is a friendly place. Classmates are welcoming to one. World is an unfriendly place. Classmates to be avoided to another. Classmates are welcoming. Can't wait for senior prom to one. Classmates to be avoided. Senior prom is silly to another. Can't wait for senior prom. Get married to one. Senior prom is silly. Life alone to another. And so it goes. Mechanisms of life. Stamping out. Only so many kinds of bricks. Only so many archetypes. Only so many cards in the tarot. Only so many patterns in the I Ching. Only so many Greek or Hindu gods. Vagaries of experience, the mason. Concrete chisel, the teacher.
Oh, 2 minutes.
Okay. Under our skin. Still stinging, hanging on, biting, clawing at us, deeply embedded parasites injecting toxins to distress us, make us nervously jump or sink into lethargy. We try to brush them off, run so fast the wind knocks them away, hide under the covers where maybe they won't find us as they eat away at us, under there with us, run far to faraway lands where they won't find us. But at least for a few moments, we might forget they are stowaways inside us, we think. But we don't forget. They won't let us. Sticks and stones may break our bones. You know the rest. It's probably in more than one of my poems. Then why is it those sticks and stones are long gone, forgotten, lost in the rubble of the past that makes old things disappear, and antique dealers in demand? But those other things, you know the rest, the words, are still with us. Not all of them, the ones you remember, the ones we still try to brush off whenever we remember them, discounting them. But then why do we remember them? So we resolve not to until the next time something happens, we remember. So we resolve not to, maybe not noticing quite how much today's words matter. How can we when we are still trying to dismiss yesterday's? A kind word or deed, I appreciate. Your listening can make a day worth living.
Good. Thank you.
That's fine.
And our next poet is Marsha. Marsha. You want to raise the microphone, Marsha?
Oh, yeah.
Did you want to be videotaped? Did you want to be videotaped, Marsha?
No, why not? My first piece is one that I read here before, but at that time I didn't give it its proper category. Its proper category is that of a short story. And that's the first thing that I'm going to read. The beautiful night sky showered with stars that seemed to lead to the steps of heaven. Yet I felt loneliness as I never had before. But it was true. I was alone with no one to draw out my sadness in a comforting way. I went into my little cabin and tried to refresh my mind by opening a window that looked out onto the forest beyond. The truth is, I had the desire to be in silent, even ancient surroundings, sensing that the bandages of night would wrap me in their tenderness and hide my tears. But it was not meant to be. There in the dark wood, in the sky bright with stars, I was as alone as ever. I could not even call my lover's name aloud, as he had perished in the frozen snows in the mountains, where in the warmest of the stars was like the flower of the frozen in place, leaving me most horribly alone and with no plans for any kind of future. Thank you. This is one of my familiar artistic poems. Love is not a treasure. It twists your bowels like a wayward heart that no one can melt. You pass my way and feel the rain grow through morsels of my skin, feeling and shocking. The adjacent skin as heaven perches on a nearby branch. Tears are also rain. Tears are also poems. The life bodies of the night. Tears pile up inside against a horde of birds, charming feathers, flash against the wind. The wind shouts with joy through veils with spreading lips. There is no darkness so connected. Lovers following a trail by its mellow scent. This is called Late Night Poem for H.D. Moe, who edited my book. Could I write in the blue light, at the light of 1,000 stars, I mean to support the gay community. They support the Asian Americans and African Americans. And they support women's rights. I have always liked gay men, period. But they seem to shy away from me like a feral cat. I never got to know them very well. And that applies to men and women in general. Now that I'm getting well, except for insomnia, I'm getting closer to people. Closest of all to Dave Monk, who is my leader, my partner, and my Cary Grant. Don't let us die. We have so little time. All these aches and pains and joints that throw themselves out are just such small things compared to the love, the joy of being one another. I dream you are writing to me as I write you, king of images. But where are my images? In the Ben-Gay smell of icy hot muscle rub? The taste of 100% prune juice? Where is love? I saw it on TV. Get Lakota. It works for me. And give it as a present. My orange juice with calcium. And daisies. Daisies last forever. How sweet our moments are, sweet as M&Ms. Thank you all for pledging my trust. Is this a poem, a song, or a letter? I'm no longer rambling. Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove. Thank you.
We still have 4 more minutes, Marsha. Okay, thank you. And our next poet, singer, and comedian, I guess, is JJ.
Well, comedian, huh? Well, that was one of those that I gave up. New talents every day. But hey, it's a pleasure being here, and it's nothing like a short vacation. It's a pleasure to all the people I haven't seen in a while, and again, it's a pleasure. Now, to all of you astronauts of romance, I'm glad to have shared your takes on this final equinox of summer. And my contribution will follow. Hopefully, they'll amuse you in all your tomorrows. The first piece will be Fantasine. When we first met, I felt a glow looking in your eyes, asking your name. You're doing the same, brought joy to my life. I think we both knew of a coming breakthrough, our love hitting a peak. That made me see you were the very best thing that's ever happened to me. He'd seen her only from a distance, but that was enough. She was trouble. Then there he had to decide, would he possess this fantastic specimen or be haunted forever by her audacious splendor? He decided to cross the abyss and knocked at her door for more. To his surprise, there she stood, the grits and cream, putting to flight his dreams once chained. She was the epic ice cream cup, so much he wanted to push up. Her legs like chocolate slim were oh so nice, so full, so strong, multitudinous pleasure awaited, and he'd just begun. Talking went on for days without conclusion. He petitioned God, so committed he was to pleasing her. He yearned to drink from those fountains only heaven could grant him. Came Providence's sign, he'd land her yet, attend her garden and be her pet, feed her shrimp with tartar sauce. They'd chill together at happy hour. He'd turn on the mic and switch on the spotlight, have her model in colorful pinstripes, and if per chance, Heaven awoke in him, he'd whisper to paradise in the wink of an eye, or by flowers and letters he'd win her. By spring, or surely by autumn, having sampled once her essence, left him spinning in the air. So whatever the climax, back to heaven, he'd run begging and screaming, please God, please, send fantasy back to me. Thank you. When next we met, I felt connection looking in her eyes that gave me hope I'd hit the jackpot, our love on the rise. That's when our lips touched and our hips brushed, sending flames through the roof. That proved to me she was the very best thing that's ever happened to me. Ever since Champagne. It was a low fog Monday morning without any hint of drama, where within those gilded ivory walls, suddenly I was subject and pulled up short by the most unusual confrontation. Being introduced to a pert female in a white sweater named Champagne was startling enough. Then to hear her beau and friend boy make this announcement: I'm off to fight in the wars. He found to be positively stunning. That he turned on his heels and left made him the more flabbergasted. Even so, the gift would have been happily received if not for his bottom woman who made his days with her golden ways. Only heaven would be his witness. Looking into the eyes of his new prize, joyously gazing upon her new prince, his ego demanded to have its way, and flashed before him many hero figures in their day, and from within came the verdict: today I will live, tomorrow I will rust. The fog lifted on Mother Nature's windfall to man, and he, the super strong, took command. Laying claim to Champagne's foundation brought out the best in him. He had to take her in his arms, hook her to his dreams and charms, keep her thoughts above the fray. The affair went on and on that way. That made it the more fitting the review. Was Ron a fool or a wise man for making the wonderful gift? After all, Champagne's morning smile dovetailed perfectly with Juliet's evening cuisine. Its effect, in fact, flavored his later conclusion, which was, the coat of a king has long tails. The sun's indifference shining in his bedroom window one particular Monday morning, however, did not conform to the wisdom yarn. His mention of Champagne on the subject brought from her this comment: I'll raise my robes one more time if you say one more word. Obviously, she had gone a tad too far, but things have been this way ever since he's had Champagne. Thank you. I feel so lucky being with you, bringing to me this blossom so sweet, and my following through, doing all the things a man ought to do. You've given me happiness and a love that I never knew, and all I can say is you're the very best thing that's ever happened to me. My last selection will be dog stroking. I'm just back in town, hungry as a meat-eating hound. I need love in the hour. Forget this rain a falling. I'm home again, dog stroking. My woman's gone, left my house and happy home. This letter makes it clear she'll be skinny dipping only in my memory. Maybe she'll return. I'll give her a car, money, or me to get us back in sync. Right now, my heart is broken, aching, and bloody raw. Only heaven knows my healing. And if the truth be told, I need the bandage now. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, baby. This is your long-lost lover. How you doing? Please listen up. Yo, come in your curl, Sandra. Leave the girlfriend behind. Let us reunite in bliss. Bring your little garden. I'll do the watering and all the ways you miss. Leave your jeans on, sweetie. Come while you're strong. I have this alibi you can try. I'll send water down your track. Got Jack in the back on the table with ice, mint julep coolers. Forget about your nails, Johnny. Just bring your love within. I have for us a master plan. Down to sea we'll go and watch the squalls blow. Then, while Typhoon Mary does her thing, I know a secret code we can wait in and smooch in under the moonlight. Get ready for gale winds, baby, making sailors well in pitching and heaving seas. In whose wake will come your gift, my dear, a pot of gold to celebrate our victory at the end of the rainbow. There in light seas, I'll drop anchor, lower the mast, and in sunlight dancing, enjoy total rhapsody as much as heaven will grant us. Thank you.
And our next guitarist, singer, and poet is John.
One of the things that has made me happy is that at these open mics, I can do cover songs, you know, so I can get the books from the library that show the, they're called fake books, and they get and they show the person and everything and all the lyrics and the chords, and if you've heard the song on the radio, you kind of know what the melody is, you know, what the melody is, do, re, mi, and all that. Because you've heard it, you know how it goes. So I get a lot of pleasure out of just, you know, singing in the shower, as it were, or songs I've heard on the radio, and then I can figure out the chords from the fake book, and then here it comes. This one is by Tom Waits, and it's called Old 55. Which is, you know, he has written a bunch of good songs, but this is one that other people think is real good too, and so they've done covers of it. And so I watched on YouTube, you know, how they do it and stuff, and I'm going to try to do it here. In fact, I hate this, but I have to go here to my little backpack and get my reading glasses, because, you know, if you're like over... If you're over 13, you're going to need reading glasses.
Welcome to the club.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's right.
So, and then I have to do this, of course. Well, that's close enough for this guy, Tom Waits. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so that's close enough for rock and roll. Well, my time went so quick. I went naked inexplicably out to my old 55. As I pulled away slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive. Now the sun's coming up. I'm Does the wizard I'd stay a little longer? Oh, let me tell you, the feeling's getting stronger, and my time went so quickly. I got lifted quickly out to my own this fire. As I pulled away slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive. Now the sun coming up. Freeway cars and trucks. Freeway cars and trucks. Freeway cars and trucks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I write stuff at this book club I go to on Thursdays, and I don't care if it's any good or not. Because how do I know if it's any good? But since I did it, you know, and I typed it up and printed it out, and I like it. Okay, so here it goes. Poem. The poem sucked. It always does, because this teacher has an agenda, which is that bad poems are good. Because the poem meant nothing, I can't even remember it. All I can do for a measly 10 minutes is keep the pen moving. It's pretty good when all you have to do is, yo. They got a supervisor checking to see if you're working real hard, snarling at you every foreign time. If I could just collect 10 cans, then cash them in, then buy beer, what else is there? Everybody shows up with cash. They give me, It felt so good while the bucks rolled in, but now what? Let me see. 1, house, car, company. 2, steaks and steaks. 3, prostitutes, courtesans, administrative assistants. Give up your life as a sacrifice. Gee, okay, but to whom? Well, you know the answer to that one. To whom it may concern. Rig a ma roll. The cast of characters include 1, ma, a mother. 2, fix up some dialogue where the parent says this and that to offstage children, or charges, or even to a group. It's assembled outside the kitchen door, and Ma is telling them like it is. Now rework the monologue, plus question and answer period, to fit the time allotted. Get that Marsh guy to edit the freak. Put it on YouTube, get on Letterman, jack off in front of billions, then curse God and die. When you actually die, there are 5 more minutes of finding out. YouTube glasses, asses, stashes over there. All this is it so. May all beings be happy. Did that even work? 10 minutes. This is coherent. What? Look it up. Or better, just feel what it means. You know what it means. It means, sure, I understand what you said. It wasn't perfectly coherent. And I do have a couple of minor questions, but what you said and what is written here is coherent enough for me to sign for the 10 grand. And so you sign. Then it turns out that the couple of minor questions were actually 7 distinct clauses that cost you big, so much of a loss that it is a big setback. Oh, this is a song. I'll sing a song. Okay, how bad is it? Is the name of the song. Okay, it goes. It's not that bad. What you had was sad, but it's no egad. It's just not that bad. And it continues. You're a lad with a pad, or a dad with a tad of money. You remember how to act. It's just not that bad. And then continuing, it says, you tricked us. Man, this is a bunch of crap. A bunch of I don't want to go on. If the doctor said you have only 5 seconds to live, you wouldn't know what to think. If they say you've got 50 seconds, you would freak out, then die. 5 more minutes? I guess I better masturbate, or murder, or maraud, or maybe mayhem. Yeah! Thank you. I can sing one more song. I don't know what to sing though.
Did you sing the song we love about
First I'm
Jesus and God?
Huh?
Jesus, God and Jesus?
I'll do the Jesus song, but first I want to do this short one I wrote. Because it has the word in it. Okay, it says, everything, whoops, goes here. Everything happens for a reason. Well, that's just bullshit. Because this is it. Okay, so that was short enough. Now here's my I Got Jesus song. Okay, all right. Well, I got Jesus, but I need a woman too. I got Jesus, but I need a woman. Mama's gonna go tell the preacher, or he's gonna want some. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you, John. What happened to your other guitar, John?
I have 3 guitars.
3?
One's in the pawn shop.
Oh.
The other one's a bass guitar.
Right.
And then I got this one.
I got this one.
Actually, I have 4, but I loaned it to a friend.
Oh, cool.
So thank you for asking me all the detailed personal questions. Going to an open mic, you don't know how they're going to interrogate.
Okay. And to close out our program today, here's Johnny.
I noticed in the last week, Johnny, the world's gone to pot.
Yeah, that is the truth. Okay, so here's another one for your approval.
Yeah, let's play the guitar there. Try it one more time. Okay. Ever since the beginning of time, man and his microbes mostly got along just fine. Sometimes there be outbreaks, epidemics, it's true, but part of nature's grand design is giving us the flu. Oh, dirt don't hurt, dirt don't hurt. It builds up our immunity and shows us what we're worth. Dirt don't hurt, no, dirt don't hurt. If we weren't prone to catching something, it would probably stay inert. So the next time you're contemplating Mother Earth, pick up a handful, because dirt don't hurt. Used to be soap and water worked just fine to do most of the cleansing that would keep our health in line. Now we use antibacterials and sanitary wipes. Everything is antifungal, anti-germ, and anti-life. But you know, dirt don't hurt. No, dirt don't hurt. It builds up our immunity and shows us what we're worth. Whoa, dirt don't hurt. Dirt don't hurt. If we were prone to catching something, it would probably stay inert. So the next time you're contemplating Mother Earth, pick up a handful, because dirt don't hurt. The more we sterilize, the weaker we become, and the bugs keep getting stronger. Seems this system's kind of dumb. We overuse the products from those chemical companies just so they can turn a profit by exploiting you and me. Oh, dirt don't hurt. Dirt don't hurt. It builds up our immunity and shows us what we're worth. Dirt don't hurt. No, dirt don't hurt. If we weren't prone to catching something, it would probably stay inert. So the next time you're contemplating Mother Earth, pick up a handful, because dirt don't hurt. Yeah. Silly stuff. What can I say? Okay, here's another one. Let's see. You know they say opposites attract, like it's a fact. But some people really can't get along and stay intact. A little variety just might help out in the sack. But what you have in common is what keeps you coming back. Once people click, they eventually clack. If it walks and talks like a duck, does it have to go quack? Is there some trick to keep things rolling down the track? Once people click, they eventually clack. Many a romance can be like popcorn that stop popping. And when you're kicked in the backside enough, the other shoe starts dropping. If that wandering, roving eye goes window shopping, you know it's gonna hit the fan, and you'll be the one who'll do the mopping. Once people click, they eventually clack. If it walks and talks like a duck, does it have to go quack? Is there some trick to keep things rolling down the track? Once people click, they eventually clack. hopeless crap. You have to create your own instructions, GPS or map to navigate past those places where you've become a hopeless sap. Once people click, do they eventually clack? If it walks and talks like a duck, does it have to go quack? Is there some trick to keep things rolling down the track? Once people click, do they eventually clack?
It's one of the old ones I just feel like doing today. It's a lot of this one.
Take a moment to celebrate the good things that have been, and just maybe in a state of grace you'll recall all you've seen. From the very first brilliant sunrise to that sparkle you found in a lover's eyes, know the magic of hopes and dreams realized through the lessons learned each time tears were cried, for all the questions asked and answers never found, for every time you were just spinning round and round. It sure felt good to get your feet off the ground. Sometimes take a moment to appreciate your life. Take a moment to appreciate your life. You guys want to sing along? You want to sing along? Just take a moment, it's real easy. Take a moment to appreciate your life. 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 Take a moment to acknowledge all the knowledge you have gained. Every flower smelled, every mountain climbed are all there for you to claim. From the baby blue and pink pastel sunsets glow to the welcome and smiles of all the friends you know. Walk the path of joy and bliss earned and realized through the lessons learned each time tears were cried. For all questions unknown and answers yet to find, keep a positive outlook and an open mind. It still feels good to get your feet off the ground sometimes. Take a moment to appreciate your life. Take a moment to appreciate your life. Here we go. Take a moment to appreciate your life. Take a moment to appreciate your life. Take a moment, take this moment to appreciate your life. Take a moment to appreciate your life.
It's a beautiful day for poetry. Till we meet again next Saturday, leave your troubles at the door. Watch out for the banana peels out there and more. Stay safe. Next week, our selected poet will be Indigo, so please join us next Saturday. Okay? Happy Valentine's Day. Happy
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Okay.
Monday is Labor Day.
Right.
I used to hate Labor Day.
Thank you. Thank
Labor
you.
on
That was
Labor.
powerful.
Well, right.
Sort of the most
I
powerful
worked
ones I've
retail
heard
years ago.
out here.
And management was all off.
Just
and people
kept
on
building,
the floor
kept
were all
building.
working.
The last one,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the
It
Constitution.
was meant to
I like
honor
the
the
Constitution.
benefit
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
And I've never quite forgiven it for that.
Exactly. Well,
And I was reading this, and then I just noticed.
Oh,
this.
yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. It's true.
thank you for coming in.
Powerful writer.
Oh, thank you.
I don't
I'm
think
just
I
kind
did
of
another
surprised
two
about
this year. It doesn't
Fran. I
work.
gave him a couple of.
Oh, I'm not going yet. I just,
I thought I
yeah.
was always the beacon of writer.
I was just
They
talking-
say they
Oh,
don't pay
thanks.
what I make during the day,
Oh.
and I fixed the
There
union
was
and
some,
found out for sure that's
series
not
of
true.
40th
They still won't
humorous
back
I
it
used to
out.
read that was
It may
collected
be
in
an
books.
English
Ogden Nash.
Oh, Ogden Nash.
Talking about it, I kept on trying to say Oliver. Yeah, it reminded me of, I haven't read him for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah. Yeah, he would make up words to rhyme. You know, it wasn't quite the real word. In fact, I was going to use one of those.
He wrote prose.
Yeah, he wrote prose. He'd do these little poems. In fact, one of the things I was doing, I can't remember which one I did here, I was going to throw in a word like that and then say, with apologies to Ogden Nash. But I didn't put it in because I didn't have time to figure it out.
It just reminded me, because I used to love when I was a kid. I read all his stuff.
It would rhyme perfectly, but it was a spin-off on the actual word. Yeah, I remember here, yeah. He had little round glasses.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He reminded me of Ogden Nash.
That's a compliment.